you another screencast video so that you can understand my expectations for your next reading response, number 4. For this assignment, I'm introducing you to 2 different literacy strategies. At this point, we've discussed that literacy is about comprehension and constructing and making meaning. And in doing that, there's just so many wonderful graphic organizers and which provide thinking ways to get organized, activating prior knowledge. These strategies help you to read more closely. And they also help you write, and all of those tools help you hopefully make more meaning of the reading and the videos that you'll be viewing for this assignment. So the first thing that we're going to look at is what's called the KWL strategy. This acronym, I'll explain in a second, but this is probably one of the longest standing literacy strategies. It's been around for 25 years, so I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have heard this before. Maybe you had a teacher in your own middle school, high school, even at university level that's introduced this strategy before. If you have not, well, this is great that you're learning about KWL then for the first time. And I know I have been using it in my own classroom when I was a classroom teacher for years, and I want to invite you to put on your student hat. We'll also put on our teacher hat at a later time to talk about this strategy. But the first thing that I want you to know or do with this assignment is to fill out this chart. And you can literally copy and paste this into your own Word document because you're going to submit this on LaLima. And I just want you to do bullets here. I want you to think about what you already know. So the K stands for this. What do you already know? And specifically, my question is, what do you already know about ways to help adolescents learn content? Especially kind of consider your content area, your discipline area, as you think about that. And it can be things that you've already learned in our first 2 weeks of summer class. And I also want to activate your prior knowledge from any of your previous learning, from any other classes, and just your own life and your thoughts of what you're already thinking. And again, these are bullet points, so just list a bunch of ideas here. I'm not requiring that you have a minimum or a maximum, but I mean, except for at least one, I'm sure there's got to be one thing you've already learned just from the readings that we've done in this first 2 weeks. One that comes off the top of my head is one thing to know is to create a safe intellectual, sorry, there's some noise going on and I'm not spelling well, create a safe intellectual learning environment. That would be, for an example, something that you can already put in. I know that you've learned that. You can add to that. Then in this column, this is the W. This stands for what do you want to learn over this next 4 weeks in our class, and maybe even throughout the program. I'd be remiss to say that it takes all of your coursework in your education program, in the secondary education program, to kind of complete your whole experience. So we can only learn so much in my summer class. You're also going to be taking, if you haven't already, special ed, multicultural ed. You're going to be taking your methods courses where you're going to learn even more lesson planning. You're going to get a lot of opportunities to implement your lesson plans in your field experiences when you start student teaching. So you still have a lot more that will happen within the program, but based on just some things that you think we can do in the next 4 weeks in our time together in the month of June, what would you list here, some ideas that you want to know that you anticipate that maybe we'll be able to even address here? And if we can't address it, I can always meet with you one-on-one and we can talk about what you can do to help prepare yourself, and I can help guide you towards those answers. So go ahead. I can't wait to read your list here. Now this one, hold off. You're not going to write anything here yet, except you can share some things you've already learned in the 2 weeks. So you can put some things there. Maybe you want to even say, I learned this from the second class or from this reading, because this is a running list that you're going to keep for the next 4 weeks, because this column, which is the L, it's what you learned already, that's going to relate to this assignment in the syllabus, which is called your final KWL reflection paper. We know that the best teachers are reflective teachers, so I'm going to have you reflect on your learning over the semester, meaning our short 6 weeks. And it even says here, at the beginning of the semester, we will create a KWL chart, and you will keep a list of all the things that you're learning every single class. So I'll make sure to point this out in the future, because by the end of our session, you're going to be able to turn in, I'm going to require you to turn in, if that is if you want an A, that you'll list 7 to 10 things in your L list that you learned. And then you're going to pick your top final 3 items to discuss from that list. But I'm just going to pause here because I'm actually going to explain this assignment way more in detail when you're closer to this assignment. So please don't start this assignment for a bit, because really we're so early in the summer journey that this paper is more relevant at the end of our time together. But I do want to give you just a preview so that you can start thinking about this is a main assignment as you move forward. So I hope that makes sense. Again, I will be making a screencast video just solely on this assignment to prepare you when it's time. So hang tight on that. But at least you know, okay, that this reading response is starting your preparation and thinking about your final L paper. So you can start to list a couple things that you've already learned in this class, and then you'll keep a running list as you go. So again, there's space to keep pushing this down and making more bullet points, so keep that handy. And again, you'll turn this in on the due date. And then the next strategy that I want to introduce you to is called triangle, square, and circle strategy. And it's simply put, I'm going to have you watch some videos. I heard you guys loud and clear when you said we like the videos. By the point you are doing this work, we'll be getting more heavily into our lesson planning. So this, it'll hopefully be a little bit easier just to watch these. I have a personal video that I recorded years ago from a 2020 interview expose that was done on textbooks in our public schools. It is an old video, I apologize, but because it's secure in our Sinclair library, you're going to need to use your UH user password, name and password to access the video. You have to sometimes even be logged onto the UH system. I've had students say, I can't get on, and it's because they're going through their personal Google account versus their hawaii.edu account. So just make sure you consider that. It also makes sure that your QuickTime is up to date, because the last time I used it, it needed QuickTime, and that's a free download if you don't have that and aren't able to see it. Let me know if there's any issues with viewing this video as soon as possible, because those things have come up before, but we've always worked them out. And then I also just have this short little video on gender bias in textbooks. And again, this isn't necessarily the most credible source, but I wrote my master's thesis on gender bias in books, so I'll talk more about that at a later time. But it is just really interesting to get your wheels spinning about what you previously read in the Daniels and Zellerman's piece, and then kind of looking at these videos. And then the second video that I want you to watch, again, I call these are all text, but this happens to be video text. I want you to watch a video on the Common Core state standards. And here in Hawaii, it is required that all teachers use the Common Core state standards. You also previously learned about the social justice standards, but now I also want you to understand the Common Core state standards, because this is where all the literacy standards are. And again, as discipline area teachers, you have your discipline content standards, then you have your literacy standards, and you have your social justice standards. So there's a lot of standards that teachers need to know. So this will give you a brief overview about how the Common Core came to be and some important ideas about it. I really hope it gives you some general information. Again, it's not a very long video. I want to say like 13 to 14 minutes. And then finally, this is a little bit of reading, and let me tell you, it's very light. It reads more like a guidebook. It's introducing you to the idea of how you write an objective. Every single teacher, this is what you do for your entire teaching life, is write objectives. So it's really critical that you have a little overview, and this is like a 5 to 6 page handout, and then this is literally like 1 page. But I really like these resources, so I put them together because they're so brief, but they do give you some good examples and the language that's needed to write powerful learning objectives. And stay tuned with that because we will be writing them here in your lesson plans. So hopefully this will give you a lot of work. So as you watch these and read these pieces, these texts, I want you to do some thinking and some writing and some responding that you will not only turn into me, but you'll be sharing in class. So come prepared when it's due. The triangle represents 3 points. So I would like you to write 3 main points to remember, and I want you to find at least 1 point from each text. That's the minimum. So find 1 point that you like from the 2020, or I should also say, and gender bias video, and write at least 1 point about from the Teaching Channel Common Core and 1 point about the articles. That would meet the minimum. If you find more relevant points that come from these texts and want to write more, go for it. I love that you would exceed my expectation, but if you're pressed for time and only can identify 1 point that really resonated with you, then just please select at least 1 from each. And the reason I put 1 is because they're briefer pieces, but personally I know I take to more than 1 point just due to my experiences and my background. So go for that. Hopefully that makes sense. Write this out any way you want to format it. I'm not grading formatting. I've even had people make a triangle and write their points on triangles. However you want to do it. I'm not necessarily looking so much for creativity. I'm looking for your answer. So you can literally have something like this and put in, I agreed with this point. Prove to me that you watched the video. Grab a quote. Reference the example that was provided. Make a personal connection or make a connection to another reading. Make a connection to the issues that you're seeing in schools or you've experienced in life. So that's how you would make sure. And what do you think the authors or of these videos want you to walk away with? So what do you think the main idea, main point is to take away? But prove to me briefly that you did indeed watch these, because sometimes it's easy to make a point just in a general way without even doing much work on something. So really prove to me that you dug into this a little bit. Again, I'm not looking for a certain length. I'm just looking to see that you did indeed interact with these texts. And then using these same texts, I want you to do again, this is just a play on words. There's the 3 points, and now you have the square. And I want you to think about what ideas from the videos and the readings square, which also means aligns with your beliefs about learning and teaching. So the play on the word before was the actual number. This one is more about what you align with and what you agreed with. So you would have at least 3 ideas. So make sure that those are visible because you have 3 different texts. So share what you liked and and if you didn't align with anything, then talk about what you disagreed with. And maybe these articles just didn't align with anything that you cherish. So I'm open to all points of views, but I was just trying to play on this square idea. Or maybe you think you can play on the word square, meaning maybe some ideas were odd to you, or that the expression, oh, he's so square, or that's it's square thinking. So you can play on square however you wish. I just want you to react what feels authentic to you, and share your ideas. And finally, the circle. We're playing on the idea of what questions are circling around for you. I would like you to write at least 2 questions. And just like the previous readings, these questions can be rhetorical in nature. They can be questions to the author, to the class, questions that just new questions now you have about teaching and learning because these videos or readings provoked some ideas. Maybe you're confused about something. So bring those questions and literally, just number them here. My first question is this, my second question is that, and you will have met my expectations for this assignment. So again, KWL, list some ideas, view and read these texts, and then complete your triangle, square, and circle strategy. And this is a strategy I've used in my own classroom. Of course, I have adopted it and adapted it for my own purposes for all different types of content. So I hope you enjoy having another literacy strategy, well, actually 2 literacy strategies in your toolkit. Thanks, everyone. I can't wait to read your reading response number 4.